revolves around one guy, and that is Peter Brock, 9-time winner here. And we thought that we would ask Peter Brock to explain to you and to us about his day at the office.
Well, this is the office. This is the machine that I'll be piloting around the track in an attempt to get a 10th victory. But there's a lot of bits and pieces on it that are a little bit different from your normal Commodore. And a racing car is a difficult sort of machine to set up properly. We can adjust the trim height of the car by lowering it or raising it. And sometimes it makes a little bit of difference at high speed, particularly with the front's a little bit lower or the back's a little bit higher. We can adjust the camber, the caster, and of course we've got a lot of aerodynamic panels on the car too to help with the way that it does slip through the air, particularly down Conrod Straight where we're doing something like 300 kilometres an hour. Now, I'll give you a bit of a look inside here because this is really the office. This is where it all happens. And there's a lot of bits and pieces. In fact, sometimes there's so much stuff in here that I almost forget what it's all about. Firstly, if we look up top up here, we've got a lot of instruments. I've got water temperature, tachometer, and oil pressure. Over here, hidden away, is the racing driver's bugbear, and that is the telltale system for the tachometer. They can press the button here and the tacho reads out how many revs we've been using. So even though we come in and we tell our pit guys, oh no, I never went over 7,400 revs, they press the button and say, hey, you pulled 7.9, where was that? And they can find out. Okay, down here, well, I have a communication button here on the gear stick. Now, seating position is one which a lot of people don't take much care of, but it matters as much, if not more, for a racing car than it does to a car on the road. Now, in a car like this, I've got a good footrest there, and it means I can brace myself, particularly going through a corner. I've got a seat which I've personally designed, this one, to hold me very, very tight and to give my maximum support, because fatigue is a very important issue, and stability of your body. You don't want to be holding onto the steering wheel. In fact, you never should be doing that. You really should be sitting back there, comfortable in the seat, and letting the seat hold you. Arms, well, I'm actually sitting a little bit closer in this car than what I would normally in my road car. I can, as you can see, if you just sort of take a test like that, my arm can droop over the top of that steering wheel. That's because that'll now give me the leverage to reef that car through the corner, to really have to lean it through a corner, because I've got big fat tyres, a lot of caster and camber on the front suspension, and I need this angle to be the best possible mechanical leverage for my body to be able to operate it. So then we have things like normal clutch, brake, accelerator. Now you can see, for instance, on the brake and clutch pedals, I have some sandpaper glued onto those so that it absolutely grips on rubber. It's fantastic, because you obviously don't want your foot to slip off at the psychological moment, particularly on a brake pedal where something like that, or slipping off worse onto the accelerator pedal, would be disastrous. So it's really very, very grippy. And it's very nicely set up for heeling and towing like that coming into a corner. Now here I have a brake adjustment bar. Now it's just a little knob here, it doesn't look too much, but if I adjust that to the right, that gives me more braking effort to the front wheels. If I go to the left, it gives more to the rear. Now what happens during a race, I'll start off with 120 litres of fuel in the back. That means I can put on far more rear brake than normally. I can really have a fair bit on, maybe 2 or 3 turns extra on the rear. Now that saves my front brakes and gives me pretty good balance and stops the front wheels locking up. Next to it is the master switch. I have fuel switches here. I have reserve systems in case the normal pump fails. I can go to reserve system. The normal main pump is there, but I have a total duplicate system I can run on. Ignition's on here, starter button there, blinker knob, normal stuff. I have my radio communication system. I have a plug which plugs into this little jack system here, which also hooks me up with the race cam and hooks me up with the pit communication system. Well, that's the office. Pretty ugly, but very, very effective.